Hello friends, today we are going to see diseases of groundnut. In that there are so many diseases like ticka. In ticka there is early leaf spot and late leaf spot. Similarly, stem rot, collar rot, aspergillus rot, rust, bud necrosis and some nematode causing diseases we are going to study in this lecture. Now first we will see ticka. It is also called as leaf spot, and there are two types of leaf spots. First is early leaf spot and second is late leaf spot. Early leaf spots caused due to Cercospora arachidicola and its sexual stage is Mycosphaerella arachides. And late leaf spot caused due to Phaseriopsis personata and its perfect stage is Mycosphaerella burkeli. These are two major diseases which we can commonly observe on groundnut crop. So we are going to see symptoms of this disease. Ticka, that means early leaf spot and late leaf spots. These two diseases are most destructive diseases of groundnut and occurs wherever groundnut crop is cultivated. And in India, this disease occurs in all the groundnut growing regions and causes severe damage, particularly when plants are affected in early season. And in case of losses, the pod production may be sometimes reduced up to 50%. So there is always 50% losses of this disease, and this disease is also associated with rust caused by Puccinia arachides. And if the both infection, that means if there is the infection of rust along with leaf spot, that is ticka, then there will be the 70% losses can observe in case of these diseases. So this is one of the most destructive disease. Now we will see the symptoms. In early leaf spot, the most conspicuous symptoms are observed generally on leaves. On rachis, petioles, stipules and stalks are affected due to this disease, and this shows elliptical or elongated type of symptoms on leaves. Similarly, the leaf spots are irregularly circular, that means they are 1 to 10 mm in diameter and shows reddish brown or dark brown on upper surface and are surrounded by bright yellow halo. This point is very important, that is yellow halo produced by this early leaf spot. And second point is light brown to tan color spots were also developed on under surface of the leaves. That means on lower surface of leaves there are always presence of tan colored spots. So these are particular marks of identification for early leaf spots. Similar symptoms of leaf spot were also observed in late leaf spot also, but only difference is that there is the usually darker color regions were found in late leaf spot than early leaf spot. Another difference is there is the absence of yellow halo. That means yellow halo which were produced in early leaf spot were not seen in case of infection by this late leaf spot caused due to Phaseriopsis personata. And the symptoms are like the spots are deep black in color with clusters of conidiophore bearing conidia, and they arrange in the concentric manner. Severely diseased leaves dry up and results in the heavy defoliation. See guys, this is the very important point, that after the infection of leaf spot there is the heavy defoliation, and due to the heavy defoliation there is the less availability of food production, or there is the disturbance in the food production process due to defoliation. So the pod formation or the development of pod which is completely affected due to this defoliation. In both the cases, generally lower leaves are first attacked by this late leaf spot, but on later stages, this disease spread to other leaves also. And both the fungi produces lesions also on petiole, stem, and in case of pegs also we can observe some symptoms. And there is a huge loss of photosynthetic activity or photosynthetic tissues that leads to the reduction in the yield and quality of the nuts. And this pathogen is intercellular as well as intracellular. That means it can grow inside the cells also and in between the cells also. So that's why this term is used, intercellular and intracellular. And it produces abundant sporulation on upper leaves and lower leaves also. And these conidiophores produced by these fungi are olivaceous, brown or yellowish brown in color. And if we see the conidia, these are subhyaline conidia, that means pale yellow color or upclavate conidia were produced by this pathogen. And the another important character of this fungus is this fungus in its perfect stage produces acai in Pseudothecia, which are globose or broadly ovate with papillate ostiole, and from that ostiole ascospores were released from this papillate ostiole, and there is always 8 ascospores present in each acai, which are cylindrical to clavate shape. This fungus survives for longer period in infected plant debris as well as in the form of conidia or dormant mycelium and in the form of Pseudothecia. The most occurrence of this fungus is always in the form of Pseudothecia. Similarly, the volunteer groundnut plants were also harbor the pathogen. That means volunteer groundnut plants were served as a host. In case of main host which were not available, they survive on volunteer groundnut plants. Similarly, the fungus also survive on contaminated pods and seeds which were put down at the time of harvesting in soil. And primary infection of this leaf spot is always by means of ascospore or the conidia which were liberated from infected plant debris serves as a primary source of infection. And secondary source of infection is always by means of wind blown conidia and rain splashes, which helps to spreading of this conidia from infected portion to the healthy portion. And in case of favorable condition, prolonged high relative humidity consecutive for 3 days and low temperature, that is 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, with dew on leaf surface. Similarly, heavy doses of nitrogen and phosphorus fertilizers and the deficiency of magnesium in soil, these are some predisposing factor, or we can say these are some favorable conditions which were useful for development of this disease. Now we will see the management of this disease. For managing this leaf spot, we must have to remove and destroy the infected plant debris. See, infected plant debris serves as a reservoir host for these pathogens. They can survive in infected plant debris in the form of Pseudothecia or infected leaves which were containing conidia or this Pseudothecia that are very helpful to survive until the next season. So the first important point is to remove and destroy the infected plant debris. Similarly, volunteer plants which were also serve as a reservoir host for this disease. So we have to also eradicate such volunteer plants from the field and remove and destroy them outside the field. Similarly, cultural practices like promoting the vigorous growth which helps to minimize the infection of this disease. Similarly, we can also minimize this disease by changing the date of sowing, and this will help in the avoiding of damage caused by these pathogens. And we can also grow early maturing varieties that usually escape the losses caused by this disease. And we can also grow resistant varieties, which shows some resistant capability against such diseases. The most important factor for avoiding this disease is seed treatment. By using seed treatment, we can avoid the primary infection of this disease at primary level. For seed treatment, we can use Captan or Thyram at the rate of 3 to 4 gram per kg of seeds. This will reduce the primary infection which were present on seed also and in soil also. So this is very important factor. And the next important factor is chemical control. For chemical control, we can use carbendazim 0.05% or chlorothalonil or mancozeb or til, any another systemic fungicide also useful for controlling the both early leaf spot and late leaf spots.